The Student Success Coach podcast has launched. It's January 2021. A very happy new year to you, and hopefully it's going to be an absolutely wonderful year for you and your family and your friends, and importantly, your studies. And that's what we're all about here on the Student Success Coach podcast, is to give you inspirational stories. So just to kick off this season 1 of the podcast, in the first 3 episodes, I'll give you a bit of an introduction about the show, about myself, and about the value you'll get from becoming a regular listener. So in this first episode, let's just dive into a little bit of an introduction about the Student Success Coach podcast. What I've aimed to do is to give you an in-depth listening experience. So I listen to a number of podcasts, and I really think that podcasts are an incredible format for really getting deep into a topic. If you want to immerse yourself into something and hear from people who really know what they're talking about, it's good to just get into a podcast series. If you trust the show and they deliver good content, then subscribe, and you'll get a regular dose of just wonderful and inspiring material. And that's absolutely what we're aiming to do here on the Student Success Coach podcast. So what will we have? We'll have mainly other students talking about their journeys to student success and the practical lessons that they've learned along the way to becoming successful. And this is really important. You need to be able to finish any of these episodes, go through the whole episode, listen to the story, get into the nitty-gritty of it, and then importantly be able to draw on those stories to make a difference in your study. So I'll be getting into those tips and techniques and make sure that I ask the tough questions of the students and educational leaders that I interview to give you those practical tips and techniques that you can implement and take action straight after the episode. So I've drawn on my network to really get into what drives other students. I've drawn a cross-section of a range of different students from different institutions, and typically you'll hear from people that are studying for degrees, or they've got a couple of degrees, or they're pretty much in postgraduate, higher level education, but I'm sure we'll have a whole range of different levels of academic studies. So let's just talk a little about who I'm going to be interviewing this year, and why am I interviewing them, and why should you listen to the show. Well, I simply believe that stories absolutely matter, and I believe that other people's stories are inspirational for our own journeys. And I can teach you something, and I do that in my courses and in our webinars, but when you hear how somebody else has applied those principles, the impact on your own life and your success will be just that much greater. So I've made it my mission to bring top students in, people that you can really listen and learn from every single week. So you'll hear from students. They could be working on their masters, on their PhDs, MBAs, diplomas, academic research of different kinds, and business people who have studied further, and very often people who are studying part-time, trying to balance a busy life with studies in the evenings and on the weekends. Now, a podcast is a wonderful format because it's a deeper experience, and it doesn't require you to look at anything on a device. You can plug in your headphones and off you go. I like to go for a walk and listen to my favorite podcasts. Somehow the insights and stories are just that much more richer and meaningful when I'm out in the air, away from my desk and away from a screen, which is just absolutely wonderful. So that's what podcasts really need to do. Of course, if you're watching these on YouTube and you don't have access to a podcast platform, then they'll also be available for you here. But and you absolutely can watch any of the interviews here on YouTube, but your most immersive podcast experience is, of course, going to be on your favorite podcast platform. So get some fresh air, possibly some exercise, and then mix that all in with some deep insights about a topic that I'm sure you also care deeply about, and that's student success. And it's something I'm extremely committed to. So in episode 2 of season 1 of the podcast, I'll give you some more information about myself. I've completed my own PhD through part-time studies, and my mission really is to pass on what I've learned so that you can also be successful at any level of academic studies. And of course, I've drawn my whole life and my experience to help you along the way. So listen in on episode 2 to find out more information about myself, Peter Alkemer, the Student Success Coach. Now, many students are doing their qualifications part-time, and this is something I can really help you with because I've been there, and of course, I did my undergraduate studies full-time. So I understand what it's like to be studying full-time or studying part-time and also have a demanding work-life, study deadlines, plus a family and a busy life. So when I interview people and what you can really expect from the podcast this year, I will really try and get into their thinking, their outlook on life, and importantly, how they studied, what were those practical tips and tricks that they learned along the way. So listen in each week and you'll really get the life story, the hard lessons, the ups and downs of these people's lives, plus the actionable steps you can take to become more successful. So episode 3, I'll be giving you a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the students that we'll be interviewing in season 1 of the Student Success Coach podcast. But you can be guaranteed that each interview will give you something unique. And I'll draw that out from these people that I interview and ask them the tough and important questions so that you can get the maximum value. Now, some people are excellent writers and they rely on these skills to be a successful student. We'll go into their writing habits and their techniques. Some people have a clear grasp of their topic. I'll get them to explain how this helped them be more successful. And other people are at different stages of their studies. They might be going through the proposal stage when they need to get their study approved. I'll find out exactly what that looks like and how they are going through the process so that you can benefit. Even others have finished and are looking back on their degrees with that added experience, satisfaction, and of course a wonderful perspective that you can take advantage of. So I'll get them to make that real for you so that you have the same benefit of where they are and how that helps you think differently about where you are now. So in short, we'll cover pretty much everything related to academic studies. And I promise you, if you listen in every week over the course of a whole season of listening, you'll be well on your way to being a successful student. And you'll hear real life stories, practical techniques and inspiration that you can relate to and which you will need to be successful. You cannot do this on your own. You cannot do this with the information that you have right now. You're going to have to acquire information. You're going to have to listen and learn from other people's experience. And the greatest inspiration I've had in my life has been from other people's stories. And that's the driver of this podcast. What can you learn from other successful students? It's not easy to be successful, and you'll hear those ups and downs. I'll ask the tough questions to really get into the nitty-gritty of what actually happens on the journey to success. You may only see the successful parts of another student's journey. You might not see the tough moments that they have to get through, and no student has everything completely under control. There is bound to be some aspect of their student life and your student life that you need to improve on. So I invite you to join me every week as we go into people's stories, into real examples of student success, and we will walk their journey with them. Each episode is going to be about 30 to 60 minutes, so it's great for driving into work or walking outside, even going for a run, or when you're at the gym. Just pop on your headphones or your AirPods, let it run, and let me take you on a journey this year of inspiring student success stories from all walks of life, from all types of institutions, and at all levels and faculties. And I'll be here every step of the way, participating in these incredible conversations, packaging it all up so you get the maximum benefit. Remember, I'm your online digital coach, helping you with coaching, community, and courses. These podcasts are a platform for you that you can use to help you drive even more value and benefit out of our relationship. So take advantage. It's my commitment to your success. I'll see you in episode 2.